All right, so what if you could take a few of today's most powerful AI tools and smash them together? Well, you don't just get a slightly better gadget. No, you get something else. You get a self-improving workflow that's basically a research monster. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can build one for yourself.
So here's the game plan. First up, we're going to define what this God mode workflow even is. Then we'll introduce the 4 key players that make it all happen. After that, we'll get into the fun part, crafting a super skill and seeing this whole thing in action. We'll also uncover the secret sauce behind its self-improving loop. And finally, wrap up by showing you how to turn this into your own personal AI sidekick.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? This isn't about getting good at just one AI tool. Not at all. It's about creating a system, a powerful combo where different tools work together to just supercharge your research. We're talking about turning really complex jobs into, like, a single, simple command.
And when we say it turns Claude Code into a research monster, that's not just hype. It's one of those cases where 1 + 1 equals, well, a lot more than 2. Seriously, by getting these tools to work together, you're building a system that can totally change the game for what one person can get done. And here's the most important part, we're not building some rigid one-trick pony here. The real magic is that this is a template, a flexible blueprint. So whether you're digging through dense PDFs, skimming online articles, or trying to find golden nuggets in YouTube videos, this whole framework can adapt to whatever you need it to do.
All right, so how does this all work? How do we build it? Well, it all boils down to 4 key pieces of the puzzle. 4 tools working together perfectly. Let's meet the team behind the magic.
Okay, so our toolkit is made up of Claude Code, NotebookLM, the note-taking app Obsidian, and something called the Skill Creator. Each one of these has a really specific and crucial job to do in this whole setup.
First up, you've got Claude Code. Think of it as the conductor of our little AI orchestra. It's the main hub, right? It's where you give the orders, and it's the one waving the baton, telling all the other tools what to do and when to do it.
Next on the team is NotebookLM. This is the muscle, the heavy lifter of the whole operation. You feed it data, and it does all the deep dive analysis. It can even spit out things like infographics for you. And here's a really cool perk. Because NotebookLM is doing all that hard work, you actually save on token costs with Claude. And tokens are basically the money you pay for the AI to think, so this saves you cash.
Now, this next part, this is where things get really, really interesting. We've got Obsidian. This app acts as the system's long-term memory. I mean, every single thing you do, every interaction, every piece of analysis, it all gets saved here. It creates this second brain that the AI can tap into, so it's always learning and getting better.
And the last piece of the puzzle is the Skill Creator. This is basically how you teach Claude Code new tricks. It's the tool that lets you build these custom bridges, right? Connections between Claude, your data sources like YouTube, and your analysis engine, NotebookLM. It ties everything together.
Okay, so we've got our 4 components. But here's the thing. We're not going to be clicking around and using each one separately. That would be slow and clunky. The real goal here is to bundle all their powers into one single, massive command. Let's call it a super skill.
And building one is actually pretty straightforward. It's a 3-step dance. First, you use the Skill Creator to teach Claude how to grab your data. Let's say, how to search YouTube. Step 2, you teach it how to ship that data over to NotebookLM to get analyzed. And then, step 3, you just mash those 2 steps together into one clean, unified skill. Boom. But what's absolutely amazing about this is you don't need to write a single line of code. You just talk to it. You literally describe the workflow you want in plain English. Hey, I want a skill that searches YouTube, sends the results to NotebookLM, and then brings the analysis back to me. And the Skill Creator just builds it. It's incredible. This puts so much power in anyone's hands.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in practice? Let's put this whole system to the test and walk through a real-world example of this research monster doing its thing.
So here was the big question we fed the machine. What are the top 5 community projects for Claude Code? What makes them so popular? And hey, can you create an infographic of your findings? Now that's a pretty complex request, right? But the key is, it was all triggered by a single command that set that whole pipeline in motion.
And would you look at this? This is part of what it came back with. After just about 6 minutes, the system delivered a full-blown analysis and an infographic. This little table here is the core data. The AI actually figured out there were 2 different types of tool stacks being used by the top projects, one it called autonomous coding and another for the essential vibe. Super impressive, super structured, and totally automatic.
Okay, getting a result like that is already a huge win. But the real game changer, the part that makes this a God mode workflow, is what happens next. This is where the system actually starts learning from its own work. And the secret ingredient that makes it all possible? That's Obsidian.
Think about it. A normal AI chat is like talking to someone with amnesia. You ask a question, you get an answer, and poof, the memory is gone for the next conversation. But when you plug Obsidian into the mix, the workflow remembers. It keeps a record of how you like things done, the style of analysis you prefer, the way you want your reports formatted. It doesn't just learn, it learns you.
And this leads to this absolutely brilliant idea. Inside your big second brain of notes in Obsidian, one single file basically becomes a personalized user manual for your AI. It's like a brain within a brain, and its only job is to tell Claude exactly how you, personally, like to get things done.
All right, so let's bring this all home. How do you take this from being just a cool demo into being your system? Because the end goal here isn't to just copy and paste the setup. It's to use it as a blueprint to build your very own custom-trained AI research assistant.
So, let's just quickly recap the big takeaways, right? First, this is a super flexible template, not some rigid process. Second, you can swap out the data source for anything you want, YouTube, PDFs, articles, you name it. And third, and this is the big one, the whole system learns your preferences over time. It actually evolves from just being a tool into a truly personalized assistant that gets how you work.
And that really leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you've seen the blueprint for building this kind of self-improving assistant, what's that one annoying, complex, repetitive research task in your own life that you could totally automate and level up with a super skill of your very own?